Hey everyone, James here. I want to do a quick breakdown of the MMA slate today. I figured I'd have a little bit of time. I could do some introduction to a couple of different tools for MMA over at PayDirt Data. So today we're going to look at the Handbuilder, we're going to look at the Pivot Finder, and we're going to look at some simple rules for the Portfolio Manager. So jumping over, the first thing that we're going to take a look at is player range of outcomes. All this stuff is obviously important, but it feeds into the other tools which we're going to use. Initially, I always like to sort by ownership and take a look at what fighters are going to be the highest owned so that we can get an idea of what we need to look for in the pivot finder. So we know that Danny Donchenko, Hafid Bassarat, and Michael, I can't pronounce that last name, are all going to be the highest owned fighters, 60%, 58, 55. Let's go take a look at what the Handbuilder wants to give us. So let's take a look at the main optimal here. This is probably something that you could actually use in single entry. We do still have relatively low ownership here for Amir at 13%, so this would probably be fine, but you still may want to find a way to get away from this combo, this Basharat, Oliveira, and Donchenko combination. The nice thing is that we don't have this dude who's going to be super high owned, Michael O. I have no idea how to pronounce that last name. So let's go ahead and clear that out. Actually, let's fetch that optimal, save it, and then let's make a comparison against the ownership optimal and see how those two compare. So when we look at these both, the medians are essentially exactly the same, right? 535.5 versus 535.3. The difference is an extra 16% ownership. We do end up getting this Michael O guy. And when we go in to the portfolio manager, the main rule that I'm going to make is to avoid this combo, Donchenko, Basharat, and Michael O. And that's because those three fighters combined are going to be the highest owned combination in all of the large field GPPs. And I think that if we can just avoid having this combo of these three fighters, we'll be able to mitigate our dupes pretty well. But either one of these, this is obviously your cash game lineup. It's pretty easy to play. This one I think could probably be used in single entry stuff, but probably not large field. This is probably still going to project for quite a few dupes. If we wanted to make a quick pivot off of here, then we could go over to the pivot finder and we could take a look at similarities for the different fighters. So let's take a look. Do we have any similarities for Donchenko? Looks like we do. The match is kind of weak though. Median is way lower, right? 98 versus 115. Top 5 is fine. Salary is fine. Ownership is way lower. So, I mean, you could make this. This is probably something that you'd want to do in larger fields, but not something I want to do right now. What about Michael O? We got a lot for Michael O, right? We have Farid Basharat, who's 9K compared to 9,100, projects for about the same, and comes in at less than half the ownership. So he's a really, really good pivot, as is Kong Wang, who comes in at less ownership, about the same price, again, 9,200. And you could even go with Bautista, who projects for 1 fantasy point lower. You could go with Kaio, who's $200 more. I mean, there's a lot of pivots here that we could make. So if we go over into the Handbuilder, this one costs 49.8. I think what we could end up doing is just get rid of him and slot in Kyoji. And this is probably a really good high level lineup as well, right? Yeah, that gives us this 538.6 and 229. So this is a really, really good single entry lineup. All right, let's go over to the portfolio manager really quick and load things up and take a look at building out a portfolio here. This goes relatively quickly now because we have the ability to just go through and load things from the database. I am going to do only 2 rules here because I don't think that we need to be too crazy. The first one is the conditionals manager for players, right? We want to remove lineups that contain Michael O that also have all of Donchenko and who's the other dude? Basha. So let's start there. That removes a handful. Good. Okay. So now we can already see that removed a lot of like our highest dupe lineups. Yeah, that's a pretty good set. Okay, so then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the macro filters and I'm going to say max acceptable dupes 50. I think this is going to be a pretty highly duped contest overall, so I don't mind doing 50 or less. I just want to give myself plenty of chances to win with some good relative value. Okay, cool. So that took it down to 697 lineups. So now let's go ahead and first off, I want to save this as a new base setting. Macros applied. Save current base. Cool. Okay, so let's do 2 different stratifications. So the first one I want to do is just diversity and see what it gives me. So it looks like, from a dupes perspective, this ended up giving me quite a few lower dupes. Happy about that. Okay, cool. Let's see what it does in terms of giving me player exposures. So I'm fine with this. Donchenko projects for the best out of anybody by a long shot. Almeida is one of those really nice pivots that we have off of Michael O. We have a lot of free Basharat. This looks like a pretty good set. But I also wanted to go ahead and reset this back to macros applied. And I also wanted to do a weighted ownership one. I don't want it to be super low owned. The nice thing about this is after we've already applied our macros and we've already limited our dupes, ownership doesn't really matter anymore, right? So I don't really care that I have really high ownership, quote unquote, for any lineups as long as the dupes are where I would like them to be. So this one, sorting obviously from the top down for weighted ownership, like these are going to be my highest duped lineups, and that's fine. But then because of the stratification function, we can see that the dupes are starting to drop, the weighted ownership starting to drop. So now we probably have a nice spread of players and a nice spread of win equity. We still have plenty of Donchenko. We still have a lot of Basharat. We have our pivot with Almeida. We have another pivot with free Basharat. We do have a little bit more Michael O than Basharat, but they're about the same, right? So I think that you could go with either two of those and end up finding some success. This has been a quick little lineup build session for MMA. Wanted to show off a couple of the tools, do a little bit of what I would do for this MMA slate. If you enjoyed this and think these tools look cool, you should come over and join PayDirt Data. We're going through a lot of really cool stuff over at the site. If you want to find subscription options, you can find them up here in the nav bar. $40 a month is all access. You can get $20 for a week or $5 for a day. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you next time.